Welcome, everyone, to the Sierra Center for the Arts on this beautiful morning and this Veterans Day weekend and our celebration of veterans. We're happy to have you all here, and thank you for coming out this morning. This is also live on YouTube and can be viewed thereafter as well. We will begin our program this morning with a presentation from American Legion Post 72. The Rise Up Children's Choir will then perform the national anthem. Miss Oram will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I will come back out at that point. Thank you.
When I come to visit with Adam and the staff, I usually leave a good joke with him. Adam, you know what you get when you cross a turkey with a centipede? Drumsticks for the whole family.
This is Kelly Kirkpatrick, our commander of Post 72. Isn't he amazing? We love him.
The other one I've been telling people lately is there's a fellow been gone all morning long, and when he gets home, his wife says, "Where you been?" He says, "You wouldn't believe who I ran into on the way to my eye doctor appointment this morning." She says, "Who was that?" He said, "Everybody." I'm going to ask all of you please to stand as we present the flag of the United States of America. In 2005, Congress enacted a law that says whether you're in uniform or not from the United States military, you may salute the flag. You've earned that right. Start track one, please. Present the flag of the United States of America. Present. Horn. I'm going to ask Miss Oram to come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Okay, please say the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We want to have this wonderful choir on stage favor us with the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets swept blazing, bursting gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Post the colors. Flag detail dismissed. You may be seated, please. What we'd like to do for you now is present the branch of service flags. If you've served under these colors, have family that served, you like the song, you like the person carrying the flag, you like the flag, you're a patriot of America. Please clap, hoot and holler, shout, stomp your feet, but absolutely no standing on the seats. Biden care doesn't cover when you get hurt celebrating. Start track 2, please. United States Army. United States Marine Corps. Hoorah! It's the United States Marines' birthday tomorrow. United States Navy. United States Air Force. United States Coast Guard. They were originally called Shoreline Search and Rescue. In 1985, Congress enacted a law that gave veteran status to the United States Merchant Marines. They were some of the first casualties of war because they were in foreign ports on supply ships. United States Merchant Marines. Ladies and gentlemen, there's one flag that you see flying at the Capitol Rotunda, both national and state level. It does not represent a State of the Union, a branch of service, or a select group. The POW MIA flag, it brings to mind those who are still unaccounted for. Last figure I had was 63,000 that are still unaccounted for. They may be buried at the bottom of the ocean. They may be buried on foreign soil. There are some that are still being held against their will by the enemies for freedom. In a moment of silence, would you please remember those who are not accounted for? Present the POW MIA flag. Flag detail. Present arms. I'm going to ask our bugler to sound taps. It's a sacred, sentimental goodbye. This is for all unaccounted soldiers, men and women, and for all veterans. Bugler, sound taps. Order, harm. Flag detail, left, haste. Forward, hutch. While they're marching off, I'm going to ask all of you a favor. Well, first thing I'm going to do is teach you how to say thank you to a veteran. Put your hand on your heart. Extend it, palm up. That's thank you. I'm going to ask a favor of all of you. If you know a veteran, if you are a veteran, please document your stories. This is the greatest teaching tool for all generations to come. May God bless each one of you. May God bless this great United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Aren't they amazing? The Legion, they do hundreds of these a year, and what a service they provide. I got to witness that firsthand when my grandmother died. She served in the Navy, and one of the cool things they do after the 21 gun salute is they pick up all the shells and give those, and all of us grandchildren got one of those to keep too. So, but they do this great service and many funerals throughout the year. In fact, they're leaving us in just a few minutes to go to another function and do this again. So thank you again to American Legion Post 72 and Kelly Kirkpatrick. Also, isn't the Rise Up Children's Choir amazing? We'll get to hear from them a little bit later again, but I wanted to tell you the Rise Up Children's Choir is Utah's premier contemporary vocal performance group for young people ages 6 to 18. It ignites a love of music and encourages the full expression of each child's potential for artistic and personal excellence through the collaborative experience of singing, recording, and performing. They have more than 250,000 subscribers to their YouTube channel and hundreds of millions of streams across multiple social platforms. Their website is riseupchildren.com, and you can go there for upcoming performances and to learn more about them. And Chloe Henry, Miss Orem, you'll get to hear from her. She's going to sing for us a little bit later. And we're so glad to have her and her royalty here with us today. They do a wonderful service to our city as well. We're also very honored to have with us today our mayor of Orem. And I'm going to turn some time over to him to officially welcome us here today. After Mayor Young welcomes us, we'll get to hear from Miss Orem, Chloe Henry, who will sing America the Beautiful. And then the mayor will introduce our keynote speaker for today, Mayor David Young.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you coming out to honor our veterans today. I'd like to recognize our veterans here today. If they could stand up. Thank you. Thank you for your service. I'd also like to recognize American Legion Post 72 for all the good work they do to promote patriotism and love of country in our community. I know a little bit about military life. My dad enlisted when he was 17 because he wanted to fight in World War II. He lived in Key West, Florida, and regularly went down to the docks to see the big Navy ships. The first time he tried to enlist, he didn't weigh enough, so he went home and ate as many bananas as he could, drank lots of water, and finally barely qualified. From there, he started in the Army Air Corps, and then he moved into the Air Force for 20 years. In the military, our family went where they sent us. As a kid, I lived with my family in 12 different places by the time I was 12 years old. We lived in Florida, Logan, Sunset, Germany, Spain, Nebraska, Clovis, Roswell, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. My wife's father, my father-in-law, served in the Navy on a minesweeper in the Pacific off the coast of Japan, right in the thick of World War II and when they surrendered. Over the years, I've heard a lot of his World War II stories. In all the wars since the Civil War, there have been 1.3 million Americans sacrifice their lives for our future. Ronald Reagan once said, "The price for freedom has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price." Peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it, now or ever. We are Americans. Today we honor those who made or were willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, their lives, to allow us to live in the greatest nation in the world. We have events like this to ensure that we never forget what we must do to preserve our freedom for our future. Outside of my house, there's a rock that holds our flag. It's our flagpole. On that rock it says, "The land of the free because of the brave." May we never forget that. Thank you for coming out today. I think you're really going to enjoy the program. And we also want to invite you to Orem's Veteran Day celebration on Monday up at the cemetery. If you haven't been to that before, that's a great event also. That'll be 11. But I'm really glad you're here this morning, and I hope you enjoy the program. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Chloe. That was beautiful and inspiring. I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker today. It's Colonel Gary Keith Spencer. He's the father of David Spencer, one of our city council members. In 1955, Colonel Spencer graduated from the United States Air Force pilot training program at Williams Air Force Base in Arizona. After graduation, he attended the Advanced Fighter School at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. He flew the F-86, the F-84, the F-4, and the F-4 Phantom prior to his assignment in Vietnam. He served in Vietnam from 1966 and 1967, where he flew over 300 hours of combat time. While in Vietnam, he was wounded and awarded the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, and the Distinguished Flying Cross. In 1972, he graduated from the American Command, the Air Command and Staff College, and served 3 years at the Pentagon in Plans and Operations Division. He graduated from the National War College in 1977 and then served as executive officer to the commander of European Command and the commander of the Military Airlift Command. Colonel Spencer was the base commander at Scott Air Force Base in Illinois from 1981 to 83, where he was responsible for all of the services that were provided for 45,000 military personnel and their dependents. He began his last assignment in 1984 at BYU, where he served as the commander of the Air Force ROTC. That's where he retired in 1987, and at that point in time, he had flown over 8,000 hours. Colonel Spencer married Carolyn Pettigrew in 1957, and they've been happily married for 66 years. They have 4 children, 12 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren. Please welcome Colonel Gary Keith Spencer.
Get a hold of this and I'll be all right. Okay. Well, is there anyone here? I see none. It's a bright light, I tell you. But then again, okay, I knew we had someone who knew what they were doing. All right. Can you hear me? Okay, that's to your distress, but it's okay. Now, when that sweet Miss Orme sang that great, beautiful America, I wept. I love this country with all my heart, mind, and strength. And it was a pleasure, not a service, but a pleasure to have the opportunity of being in the Air Force for all those years. Now, I had a lot of wonderful experiences, a lot of near misses. I have a piece of paper with some stuff written on it, but let's see what it says. Oh, when I was 14, back in 1944, any of you alive then? In 1944, I worked at the corner gas station, Griggs Chevron Service. I learned how to pump gas. I learned how to grease cars. I learned how to change the oil. I learned how to fix tires with nothing more than just a couple of tire irons and a rubber hammer. I had to do it all myself, break down the bead and everything. No fancy machines. And my pay was 70 cents an hour. Now, that figures out to about $5.60, I think, a day, times 5 days. That's over $25, isn't it? So on the end of the week when I got paid, I got on my bicycle, and I rode down 21st South. We lived up close to Sugar House. Down 21st South about 4 miles to number 2 airport. And that's where I paid $8 an hour to learn how to fly. It was quite an interesting thing for me. I'd always been a wonderful driver. I used to drive my mom and dad's and my brother's cars up and down the driveway. Like I could get all the way through third gear in the driveway. And it wasn't that long either. It was just, ooh. But their brakes wore out, of course. But hey, who cares, right? All right, so anyway, I went down, I learned how to fly an Aranca coupe, I think it was called. It was like a Piper Cub. And I just, I felt at home in the air. And people, I hate to say this, it's a confession, but people would rather have me up there than down here. Now, as I grew up, I had 3 brothers, and they were all in the military in World War II. And 2 of them were pilots. The other one, just older than me by 2.5 years. My father wouldn't sign, because he was too young, signed to have him go to the Navy, the V-12 program, which took you in, finished your college education, and then you had to stay for, I think, 6 to 8 years. If you were a pilot, they charged you a little longer. You had to stay a little longer. So 2 of them were pilots and 1 wasn't. But 2 of them were PhDs of chemistry and physics. And, you know, I just didn't fit into their league. My brother signed me up at, I forgot to tell you. My wife and I graduated from school some 20, I think so, 20 miles north of here, 26 maybe. I'm not going to mention the name because I have before in crowds and been pushed around. Anyway, we graduated from there, but I'm hoping that the blue will triumph tomorrow. No, today, pardon me. It's the only night I stay up really, really late. Of course, I don't have to get up to go to church because I get it on my TV, on my computer. They send it home because they think I'm too frail. And besides, I have too much to say when I go to church. Okay, so I went into the Air Force. I want to tell you that, you think that perhaps they train you as a pilot and then put you in the airplane and send you somewhere to do your job. Well, that's not true. They send you to winter survival, jungle survival, deep sea survival. Can you imagine me in deep sea survival? Well, I'm here, so I did survive, but oh, what a terrible experience. Then the Air Force had a ship, and they had a captain he was a captain like I was in those days, just a captain in the Air Force. So the waves were so high, and the boat was going up and down, and everybody was sick, and finally I got to that captain. I said, hey, how bad's the weather? I mean, isn't it too bad for us to go out? We were going out from Chesapeake Bay in Virginia, out, and that ocean was, ooh. And he said, we will not go if the waves are 10 feet tall. And I said, well, how much are they today? And he said, 9 feet, 11 inches, and 3/4. I thought, this guy is not my kind of guy. So I got up on the platform. He climbed up a long platform in the back of the ship. And when my time came, number 111, I'll never forget, I leaped off of the tower down into the ocean, this swirling, terrible ocean. And the process is they have the lanyards hooked onto you and then hooked onto the boat. So you get into the water, and pretty soon it's like a parachute coming up and pulling you along. It'll do that in the ocean with the wind. And so we're taught to take these metal things down on each side and squeeze the button. And anyway, while you're fighting and drinking all that salt water, anyway, so somehow I got one done. And so it flipped me over. And so I was scooting on my belly, sucking in all that water, because I could see, but that was it. And then you get out. I finally got the other one unhooked, and they have a lanyard. It's all in the seat of the airplane. And you pull the lanyard to you, and there's a dinghy, and you get in that dinghy. Well, they tell you, make sure you clip those metal things back up because they'll cut the dinghy. Luckily, the dinghies we had were compartmentalized. They're in 4 parts. So I didn't care whether the metal was showing or not. I got a hold of that big dinghy. I jumped myself in there somehow, rolled over, and of course, cut the dinghy. Well, I would have drowned had there not been other air in the other compartments. Then I had a Mae West on, or what I think that's what you call them. I got that. Guess what? You had to blow it up yourself. Oh my, what I lived through, I'll tell you. Anyway, so finally you're loose out there, and I see one person the whole day. We're out there for 8 hours. I see one person, he's going that way, and I'm going this way. Now, one of us, we're supposed to put your sea anchor out. Well, either he had his in or I had mine in because one of us was going the wrong way. So we were out there. Finally, it got to be started to be getting dark, and all of a sudden I saw this boat on the horizon, and it was coming to find me. And it found me and put me in that boat, and everybody was green. They were sick and throwing up, and it was a miserable time. So I said to myself, never, never, ever will I ever jump into the ocean. If I'm flying an airplane and it quits, forget it. I'm going down with the airplane. So, now, winter survival was terrible. They even train you how to, in a prison war camp, and you plan with your colleagues to escape. And then they have, after that, escape and evasion, and they try to shoot you. Yeah, I mean, not really, but it sounds good, bang, The problem with that is if you got caught and got shot, you had to start the whole program over again. Well, you know me, I hid all day long. Well, no, I didn't hide all day. I found myself a navigator in the Air Force, and he wasn't in very good shape. So we went slowly, but you could only move at night because I thought he could read the stars. He couldn't read the stars. Anyway, somehow we got to point A, and in the middle of the night got to point B and C, and finally we arrived at D, which is, we're supposed to then go from D into E, which is where everybody, that's why they picked E, everybody's supposed to end up. So I'm waiting there, and all of a sudden, a rifle is pointed through the little tent we had, a pup tent, and bang, it went off. And of course, I was deaf for at least 2 or 3 hours. I mean, I was young then, so I was out after that guy who pulled that trigger. Couldn't find him, but that was good. So anyway, let's see what else I got written down here is good. Oh, my daughter-in-law wanted me to tell you about it. You remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? Any of you still alive then? I was back in the 60s. Okay. Well, our satellites, or our spy planes, picked up that they were building missiles. The Soviets were over in Cuba. So they called us all together in my squadron and said, okay, we're dividing you up in groups of 6. And your job is to go out and sit in your airplane. And if we get the go sign, you had to go over and bomb a target. And they signed us all a target. I had the intelligence people take a picture of the topography on the coast, and so I knew right where to go. I looked at it. It was 96 miles straight ahead. And This was, we're flying the old F-84, waiting for we called it the F-110, the F-4. So I'm out there, and I asked the crew chief, I said, what is that hanging on the belly? They had the wings all full of bombs and rockets, and I don't know. Anyway, so I said, what's that thing hanging on the belly? And he said, oh, that's the JATO. What did I say? What's the JATO? And he said, the Jet Assist Takeoff. It's a ramjet, really realize. And it's supposed to shoot you into the air. Oh, if I'd have had to go, I'd have gone right in Tampa Bay. Just too heavy, way too heavy. And I knew that after we didn't go. But anyway, that's one experience where I was ready. Now, I went to Vietnam, and I'll tell you, I hope you weren't here 2 years ago. I told the same story. But I'll tell it different this time. I'm in Vietnam now for about 6-8 months. And when I got there, up in my assignment, up in Pleiku, which is up in the Northern Highlands, I landed and I couldn't see any of my airplanes. I could see the Navy A-1Es, which was a prop thing like you ever watch Midway on TV? Oh, I love that. That's me. I can just see myself doing it. Yeah. I could have seen myself doing it someday years ago. Anyway, so let's see, where am I? Oh, I'm at home. I'm living in a trailer 15 feet from the edge of the perimeter of the base. Now, they throw those satchels about 30 feet. So I thought I was living, they gave me a good deal, gave me a house trailer. Well, I had to share it with 2 other people. But I had a little bedroom, just barely get myself in there. And then the bomb shelter, they said, when the siren goes off, you go to the bomb shelter. I went and looked in the bomb shelter. It was a hole dug in the ground with some kind of structure, and then some sandbags over the top. Well, I looked down in there with my flashlight, and guess what was down there? Rats. Rats running all over. I surmised some of my friends were eating their dinner down there or something, but I wouldn't go down there now. So I said to the captain in charge of the air police on the base, give me an assignment, will you? Because I'm not going down there. And he said, hey, how would you like to man a 50 caliber machine gun on the edge of on the perimeter of the base? I'll take it, I said, I'll take it. Now, I don't know how to shoot a 50 caliber machine gun. I certainly have never done that. They've never trusted me with anything more than just a pistol. Hey, don't give officers rifles. They're too complicated for them. Okay, so the siren goes off. The siren goes off, and I run. And I got a 3-striper sergeant, and he handles all the ammunition. He said, you ready to go, Captain? I said, yes, sir. I said, we had no night vision goggles in those days, none of that. If we saw anything that moved, we shot it. And so my first day out there, man, I just cleaned up those rice paddies with those bullets. Next time I went out, the sergeant said to me, Captain, my friends tell me in the unit that someone shot a water buffalo. I said, don't pin that on me. I said, but anyway, that was my experience with a machine gun. Well, I should end because I think it's about time, isn't it? How many more minutes? 5? Oh, that's a long time. Okay. Now, I told this story before. You see how well they prepare people to go and do their job? I mean, they cover everything. I mean, and I forgot to tell you about the madman general who was a tactical airlift commander, tactical commander of the Air Force. He wanted us to go to jump school. He wanted us to do everything, want to experience all of the survivals, and now he wanted us to go to jump school. Well, thank heavens my name started with S, because it got down to M. Oh, my friends with M all had to go to jump school. I'd have killed myself, you know that. So I was spared again. I mean, I'm spared all the time. Now, when you're not prepared, this is what happens. I got on the airplane to go to Vietnam. I'd left my wife and 4 little babies. I was not a happy camper. Then we crossed the national date line. I lost a day in my life. And the time I got to Tan Son Nhut Air Force Base in Vietnam, Saigon, I wasn't a happy guy. Didn't sleep much or anything. Got there, they told us, those awaiting orders, if your name's not up on the board, go to this Quonset hut for a briefing. So I went to Quonset hut for a briefing. They said, okay, here's your assignments, passed out the thing, and I knew where I was going. I said, they will be here in probably 3 days to pick you up. And so just remember that if the siren goes off, you've got to run to the bomb shelter. I thought, oh, I hope it's not a hole in the ground, because I'm not going down. Well, it was the bathroom. They called it the latrine. It was the only concrete building, well, it wasn't, it was cinder block building, had a screen door and a tin roof. Anything could have fallen through on us. Well, I heard this siren go, and then I heard boom, and boom, and boom. It got louder and louder and louder, and I knew it was coming right at me because I could hear it. So I got up, I was on the top bunk, I got up and I jumped down, and everybody had left except the guy below me. I think it was that navigator. Anyway, he was a rather, what do I want to call it? A plump fellow. Plump, yeah. Rather a plump fellow. And so I just grabbed him by the nap of his flight suit and pulled him along, and we got over it was a supply tent or whatever you call it. And so there was a counter. So I got him up over the counter, and I got myself up, and we ran and ran and ran. And the noise got louder and louder and louder. And as we got to the bomb shelter, or the bathroom, if you will, I flung open the screen door. Screen door. What's this? Is that going to keep out something? No. Anyway, I flung it open, and I pushed my friend in, and just at that time, something blew up fairly close to me because it blew me in on top of him, which I was so grateful that I had brought him along. Yeah. It was he finally saved the day. I really appreciated him. So anyway, I was, and then, once you know what kind of guy I am, then somebody stuck their head in the bathroom door there and said, we need volunteers. So of course I get up, walk over there, and there are 3 guys ahead of me, and he's handing them each a rifle, and I think, I'll do it. They need somebody to defend the perimeter of the base. Well, what have we been doing all these years? Well, anyway, so I get right up to the person handing out the weapons, telling them where to go. And he said, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm here to defend the perimeter of the base. And he said, no, you're not. You're going to the hospital. Because apparently my left side was all blood through my flight suit. So I was a couple of weeks in the hospital, and then I went up to my assignment in Pleiku. And I thought at the time, let me live long enough to do something, to do my part. Now, I don't think we should have been in Vietnam. It was a dumb, but it's turned out to be pretty, under the communists, it's pretty good now. But I would go and I would do it again and I'd try again, over and over and over, to do my part to defend this magnificent country we live in. What a pleasure. What a blessing we have. Oh, respect the flag. Respect the flag. Stand when the national anthem is played. As crippled up as I am, somehow somebody is next to me and gets me up, and I feel good about that. I love this country. I love you good people of Orem and surrounding areas. I know you're the smartest ones because you know, somehow you know, that you honor the Veterans Day just as easily with a soft seat under your seat and a hard ceiling over your hard head, I guess it comes out. Nobody was offended at that? We are blessed, and you are blessed, and it's wonderful to be indoors. I've spoken to so many outdoor groups that's why I look the way I do. So don't blame it on the indoors. Blame it on the sun, the wind, the rain. Oh my. So with that, I'll say to you, I thank you that you're here. I thank you that you care about our dear veterans. Bless their hearts, every one of them. I love every service. I learned in Vietnam about the Army, infantry, and those young boys out on the tarmac crying. They didn't want to go back into the jungle. Now, in napalm, you know napalm? Well, you hang it on the wings of the airplane and you drop it, and it's fiery hot, really hot, and it burns through the jungle. So that's what I did. I napalmed everything I could find. I shot up everything I could find. I bombed up everything I could find. And this Puff the Magic Dragon, I forgot to tell you, this is my most important part. I got to play coup, and there were 3 airplanes there. And they weren't fighter planes. There were some Navy airplanes, but they didn't want me to get near them for some reason. And so the 3 airplanes, and there were 2 of them were what they call a gunship, Puff the Magic Dragon. It had a Gatling gun mounted. And I said, wow, that's really an interesting airplane. It's 1947. I mean, the C-47 was started being built in 1933. It's that old. Build them up, I think they built them up through 40-something. The DC-3, that's what it was in civilian terms. Anyway, so I said, wow, I know how to fly the C-47. Because when I was flying with the Air National Guard, they had 4 airplanes. I checked out in all 4. One of them happened to be the C-47, the old fella. So they said, well, you can fly it. You can you can run a mission. I said, hey, I don't know anything about it. But anyway, so this Puff the Magic Dragon shoots out these tracer bullets, and just like fire coming out of the Gatling gun. So I got a call from a Lieutenant Jacob Billy, and he said to me, could you possibly take the rest of our company and to save the rest of our company? Half of them are being surrounded and half of them are here at base. I said, sure. So they came over, and there were 52 of them. Now they're mountain yard people, very small. And this C-47 is built to hold 12 people, and there's 52. I said, well, if you can get them all in there, we'll go. So they got them all in there somehow. And away we went. And he came up front and pointed out to where we had to go, and so we flew over there and made a pass. And I think they thought we were the machine gun because they all scattered the enemy. Find out we weren't the gun, and guess what? They started shooting at us with rifles and things like that. I mean, I was right down there in the thick of it on a mercy mission. So we turned around, came back, crossed 1,000 feet, and these 52 mountain yard soldiers jumped out and sailed down and saved the rest of the company. And for that, they gave me an AK-47 mounted on a big board with a big thank you plaque. I thought, I didn't do anything. Just flew an airplane. Now, they weren't mad. They weren't happy with me when they got back at the base because the airplane had holes in it. But none of them got me. None of them got those people. So let me tell you, if you come from around Orem, Utah, and Plant Grove, and that's all the American Fork, and all these, even Provo maybe, whatever you do, it's good. And our country appreciates whatever anyone does. Even when you, that America, that beautiful hymn, America. It is beautiful. I love it. And I'm grateful that you love it. And I say this, with all of the heart, might, mind, and strength I can spare, that I love America. Thank you.
are so honored to be here and to sing to these veterans and their families and other service members. Veterans Day is particularly special to me and my family. My dad has been in the military for the past 34 years and has served 2 pretty major deployments. He recently got home from the Middle East last year. And so Veterans Day means a lot to me and goes on to recognize and see the sacrifice for so many who have served, and also my dad and our family. And I also want to recognize my mom, because when my dad was gone, she stepped it up and she took care of my family and kept us all together, and she had to do it all by herself. And so I want to recognize my mom too. My dad served in Iraq in 2005, and he served alongside another choir kid's father, Joe Moss. He's up there, so we want to recognize Joe too. Thank you guys. Thank you all you veterans for your sacrifice, and thank your families too. Our next song is going to be dedicated to you. It's called Mountain, and we hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
I'm a fighter. 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 It's like I was born to be one. Rough seas might pull me under, and dark clouds might dim my days. But there's always bright tomorrows when I close my eyes and say, remember how you've made it through the fire. Remember how you've come so far. An unstoppable force of nature. Yeah, that's what you are. I know all that I have lost has given me the purpose of conquering my maker love. I sing this hymn to rise above. I am a mountain, down in the valley below is all that I've overcome, all that I've overcome, all that I've overcome. I am a mountain, down in the valley below is all that I've overcome, all that I've overcome, all that I've I'm a fighter, it's like I was born to be one. Whatever life may throw, I'll pass the test. Whatever fate may dream upon me next, I'll stand with my head to the sky, shaking my thunder and wings in the sky. I know all that I have lost has given me the purpose of conquering my maker love. I sing this hymn to rise above. I am a mountain, down in the valley below is all that I've overcome, all that I've overcome, all that I've overcome. I am a mountain, down in the valley below is all that I've overcome, all that I've overcome, I am a mountain, and down in the valley below is all that I've overcome, all that I've overcome. Whoa, I am a mountain, and down in the valley below is all that I've overcome, all that I've overcome, all that I've I'm a fighter, it's like I was born to be one.
That's the Rise Up Children's Choir, everybody. Aren't they amazing? I do want to mention one of the reasons we're able to provide a lot of the events we do year-round for free is because of the great support we receive from the Orem Care program. So thank you to Orem for that wonderful program. I also want to thank Danielle Berry and Chase Elison, April Berlin here from the CIRA, who have helped work so hard on this program. We want to thank the Rise Up Children's Choir and Director Katie Houts today. Miss Orem, Chloe Henry, and her royalty are here. We thank them, and Donna Millard, their director. Of course, our wonderful Orem Mayor, David Young. The American Legion Post 72, Kelly Kirkpatrick. And, of course, our speaker, Colonel Spencer. And all of you for coming and participating today. We love America, and we love our veterans here at CIRA. If you would like, we invite you to go over to the Orem Heritage Museum after today, after our program. Gary Campbell is one of our docents over there. He's also a Purple Heart recipient, and you can hear his story and look at our military room, and they've got a free treat for everybody who comes to the museum over there. So we invite you over there. And again, thank you for your attendance here today. We hope you have a wonderful Veterans Day weekend. Thank you.